So today I'm in St Paul's Churchyard in Dosthill. You can see St Paul's Church behind me. And I came here mainly to fix an error on Find a Grave. There was a grave which was attributed to Dosthill. In fact, somebody had actually made a cemetery named Dosthill. And I thought, no, that absolutely must be at this churchyard, St Paul's. So I came here initially looking for that, and I have found that grave and corrected it, or at least I've added other relatives who are on that grave, and I will correct the location when I get home, because you can't do that on the app. I can show you that grave now, actually. Let's walk over here. So this is the one that I've been correcting. This is the grave of Albert Teissel, who died in 1990. I've just added on Elsie, his wife, and I have also added on Albert Edwards Teissel. Now the fence is protecting what was an old granite quarry, which is now a lake. I don't know if we can see it at all from here. No, it doesn't look like we can. So while I'm here, I wanted to have a look at one of the two Commonwealth War Graves headstones that are here. And it's the one for Sergeant Timothy Roland Bishop. I found out quite a lot about him, actually, so I'm going to read my script here on my trusty clipboard so that I don't make any mistakes and leave anything out. I had a suspicion that Timothy Bishop was known by his middle name Roland, and I've just had that confirmed by looking at this war memorial for the First World War and the Second World War, because here he's listed as T. Roland Bishop. So my apologies for calling him Timothy this whole time. He was actually known as Roland. So he was born on the 20th of June 1923, and he went to school at Tamworth Grammar School. His mother Mildred died in 1928, and although his father was still alive, he went to live with his grandfather in Dosthill. His grandfather was Joseph William Boonham, and he lived at a house called the Gables. Any idea whether that still exists? Joseph used to run the Fox Inn, which is just around the corner. But by 1939, when the census was taken, he was working as a horsekeeper for the local pipe works. There was, I think that's down the road a little bit where the road's now cut off, and there was a mine there as well. Timothy worked at the Lichfield branch of the National Provincial Bank. At that time, Dosthill was quite a small village. There were granite quarries all around, several collieries in the area. Now, if the newspaper's right, then Timothy served in the Royal Marines for 3.5 years. So he must have joined up around the beginning of 1941 at the age of 17, which was quite unusual. I'm standing by his grave now. Let's turn around and have a look at it. Timothy spent 3.5 years in the Royal Marines, serving in the North Africa campaign and the invasion of Sicily. But then he was one of over 17,000 Royal Marines who were brought together for the D-Day landings, which was on the 6th of June 1944. Timothy's unit, 48 Commando, landed on the Nan Red sector of Juno Beach alongside the Canadian forces there. I think there were 2 battalions of Canadian forces there. They faced heavy fire, and there were many casualties during the landings, most of them in the landing craft and on the beach. 137 Royal Marines were killed that day, and Timothy was amongst them. He was only 20 years old. It was quite uncommon for a body to be brought back to England to be buried, but his grandmother Amelia Boonham was buried here in March 1938, and perhaps Timothy's family wanted him to be near her. Timothy's funeral was held here at St Paul's Church. I can't get in the church today, unfortunately. It's locked, but there are lots of volunteers who have been helping me to try to find the graves, which is lovely. They look after the grounds every Wednesday, and it is a beautifully kept cemetery. So yes, the church held the funeral on the 12th of June. It was full to capacity, and there were many more gathered outside in the churchyard. Timothy was buried with full military honours, and the coffin was draped with a Union Jack and carried into the church by bearers wearing khaki. After the service, Timothy was buried right here, and here at the graveside they sang the hymn Peace, Perfect Peace. And Mr. A. Pegg, who I have struggled to identify, but he was wearing his civil defence uniform, played the last post and the reveille. The Herald commented on Timothy's frank and engaging personality, and the epitaph here reads, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." So I had a good look here for Timothy's grandmother, Amelia, his mother, Mildred, and his grandfather, Joseph, who died in 1951. None of them are on Find a Grave. If I do find them in future, I will add them, but at the moment, I'm afraid, I don't know whether they're here. There are unmarked spots immediately to the right of Timothy here, with a small urn, and immediately to the left with nothing at all. So I do wonder whether those are members of his family. So thank you for joining me here today. If you're interested in volunteering with the volunteers on Wednesdays who come and do the garden, the church has a Facebook group, so you could check there and make contact with them. They're doing a brilliant job, absolutely fantastic. I'll see what I can find out via the church, whether they've got a burial register that we can access and see whether everybody is buried close together. That would be really nice. So I hope you enjoyed this visit, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.